Some relationships don't form out of affection, they form out of alignment. Two people meeting at the exact moment when ambition, opportunity, and access intersect. From the outside, it looks like friendship. From the inside, it functions more like scaffolding. Before global headlines, before royal titles, before California interviews and carefully worded silences, Meghan Markle existed inside a smaller ecosystem. Toronto, television sets, networking dinners, limited reach, but unlimited drive. She wasn't powerless, but she wasn't yet protected. What she needed wasn't fame, it was infrastructure. That infrastructure came in the form of Jessica Mulroney. At the time, Jessica was not just a stylist or socialite. She was connected by marriage, by media, and by proximity to political and cultural power in Canada. Her husband, Ben Mulroney, carried a surname that didn't need introductions. Doors opened quietly around him. Influence moved without announcements. And Jessica knew how to navigate that world effortlessly. When Meghan entered Jessica's orbit, it didn't happen by accident. According to people familiar with the early years of their relationship, the bond formed quickly and intensely. They traveled together, appeared together, promoted each other publicly. Their social media presence suggested intimacy, loyalty, and shared ambition. This was not a casual friendship built on convenience. It was constant, strategic, mutually beneficial, at least at first. Jessica styled Meghan, introduced her to people she otherwise would not have met, positioned her within elite circles that blurred entertainment, politics, and influence. Invitations followed, visibility increased, credibility expanded. Meghan wasn't just attending events anymore, she was being placed within them. Those close to the situation say Jessica gave freely. Emotional support, career guidance, access, protection. She didn't track favors, she didn't measure returns. She treated Meghan like family. And that, according to multiple observers, was the imbalance that eventually fractured everything. When Meghan's life changed, when a British prince entered the picture, Jessica was reportedly among the first to know. Her children played visible roles in the royal wedding. She stood close enough to history to be photographed, remembered, and archived. For a moment, it appeared the friendship had reached its peak. But relationships built on proximity to power don't behave like ordinary friendships. They don't fade gently. They rupture. People who witnessed the dynamic describe a shift once Meghan's status elevated beyond Jessica's reach. Communication became less reciprocal, availability narrowed, loyalty became conditional. What had once been a partnership began to look like a hierarchy. And then came the moment that defined everything. In 2020, Jessica Mulroney's public standing collapsed under intense scrutiny. Brands severed ties, media platforms distanced themselves, her reputation took a direct hit. During that period, those close to Jessica say she waited for one voice to speak up, Meghan's. That voice never came. No public support, no private reassurance, no visible defense, just silence. Not confusion, not uncertainty, silence that appeared deliberate. According to people close to Jessica, that silence was devastating. It wasn't just the loss of a friend, it was the realization that the friendship had an expiration date, and it had already passed. But while Jessica was dealing with public fallout, something else was unraveling behind closed doors: her marriage. And this is where the narrative shifts from abandonment to allegation. Sources familiar with the breakdown of the Mulroney marriage say tensions had been building for some time. Long hours, public pressure, distance. But layered into that strain was something far more personal, an alleged closeness between Meghan Markle and Ben Mulroney that exceeded normal boundaries. Late-night communications, frequent proximity, shared appearances that felt uncomfortable in hindsight. People in Toronto's inner circles noticed. Jessica noticed. According to individuals who say they heard Jessica speak privately about this period, she confronted Meghan directly, not publicly, not dramatically, privately. What she received was not reassurance or clarity, but deflection. No clear denial, no firm boundary, just minimization, and then distance. As Meghan's life accelerated toward global visibility, Jessica's life imploded. And when the marriage eventually collapsed, the timeline began to make sense in ways it hadn't before. This is when the accusation, never formally published, never monetized, was allegedly spoken clearly behind closed doors. She had an affair with my husband. Those words, according to multiple people who claim to have heard them, were not emotional outbursts. They were statements, delivered without hesitation, without embellishment. Jessica did not take the allegation to the press. She did not attempt to profit from it. She told it quietly to people she trusted. And according to those people, she believed it completely. At that point, the friendship was no longer damaged, it was dead. What makes allegations like this linger isn't volume, it's pattern. Those who have followed Meghan Markle's inner circle dynamics over the years have noticed a recurring theme. Relationships form quickly, loyalty appears intense, access flows freely. Then, when circumstances shift, the connection vanishes, cleanly, decisively, without repair. Jessica Mulroney, according to her supporters, wasn't just another acquaintance discarded along the way. She was foundational, and that's what makes her alleged accusation so destabilizing. This isn't framed as jealousy or rivalry or resentment over fame. It's framed, by those who repeat Jessica's claims, as betrayal layered on top of abandonment. Entering someone's home, becoming close to their family, remaining connected to their spouse while withdrawing from them. These are not abstract complaints. They are specific behaviors tied to specific people and timelines. People close to the situation say Jessica began reviewing past interactions after her marriage ended. Messages, travel overlaps, late-night communication patterns, moments that seemed harmless at the time, but troubling in retrospect. Nothing was leaked, nothing was posted, but conclusions were drawn. What complicates the narrative further is Meghan's public branding. She speaks often about sisterhood, empowerment, and protecting women. That contrast between public messaging and private allegation is what fuels the discomfort surrounding the story. Those who defend Meghan argue there is no proof, no messages released, no recordings, no legal action. And that is true. These remain allegations, shared privately, repeated through social circles rather than headlines. But silence, in situations like this, doesn't always dissolve claims. Sometimes it amplifies them. Meghan Markle has never addressed the allegation, not publicly, not indirectly. Her representatives have issued no denial, no clarification, no acknowledgement. Jessica Mulroney, meanwhile, has rebuilt quietly. She has not returned to the spotlight in the same way. She has not pursued public revenge, but according to those who know her now, she is no longer protecting anyone else's image. What makes this situation volatile is not what has been said, it's what hasn't. Elite social circles in Toronto, London, and Los Angeles are small. Reputations move faster than press releases. Allegations don't need to be proven publicly to affect privately. Invitations stop, distances grow, names are quietly removed from guest lists, and people are watching. Because if Jessica were ever to speak openly, on record, in detail, she would not be alone. Others, former friends and former allies, are said to be paying close attention. This is how reputational walls begin to crack, not with explosions, but with pressure. For now, the story exists in a liminal space, not confirmed, not erased, suspended between silence and consequence. Jessica Mulroney lost her marriage. She lost her professional standing. She lost a friendship she believed was permanent. Meghan Markle continues forward, insulated by status and strategy, but insulation is not immunity, because stories like this don't end when people stop talking. They end when someone decides to stop staying quiet. And if that moment ever comes, the truth won't need dramatics, it won't need music or spectacle. It will only need one voice saying clearly and calmly, "This is what happened." And once that happens, silence will no longer be an option for anyone involved.